Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Please stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Law and has been duly advertised in the newspaper as an official meeting. Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas,
Present.
Mrs. Cass,
Present.
Dr. Osmond,
Mr. Walsh.
Present.
Mrs. Rivera.
Present.
Mr. McCarron.
Present.
Mrs. Gardella.
Present. I need a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas.
Yes.
Mrs. Cass. Mr. Walsh.
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera.
Yes.
Mr. McCarron.
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella.
Yes. I now turn the meeting over to Ms. Permilli for her superintendent's report.
Well, thank you, Ms. Gardella. And as we always do every board meeting, first of all, welcome everyone. And we always start with the most exciting part, I think, of my superintendent's report, which is our high school board reps with their reports of all the happenings at the high school. So Peyton, Colin, can you come to the podium?
Good evening, Superintendent Permilli, members of the Board of Education, and honored guests. Thank you for allowing us to speak on behalf of Jackson Township High School. As we move further into the second semester, our students continue to excel in athletics, academics, the arts, and community involvement. We are proud to share some of the many accomplishments and events happening throughout our school community. In athletics, both our girls and boys wrestling teams have continued to demonstrate hard work and dedication throughout the winter season. We are thrilled to celebrate that the girls wrestling team has won the first ever New Jersey State Championship to cap off their undefeated season. This success marks an impressive milestone for the program. Additionally, 7 of our wrestlers between the girls and boys team finished in the top 8 in New Jersey at states, showcasing the talent and perseverance of our athletes. Both wrestling coaches were also named Coaches of the Year for their divisions, while Coach Lemke earned the prestigious title for the state. Congratulations on a truly remarkable award. The boys bowling team imprinted their names on the record books of JTHS by winning the Group 4 state sections. Our basketball programs also had great seasons, winning their divisions and making a run at states. Coach Goodall and Coach Holmes were also named Coach of the Year for their divisions. Our winter track runners were competitive all year and earned the right to race at both the Nike and New Balance Nationals, representing our school at the highest levels of competition. As you can see, there were many athletes that earned accolades throughout this winter, but Marlo Donato and Yasir Johnson were recognized as our Athletes of the Month for their outstanding performances and commitment to their teams. Our clubs and activities remain an important part of the student life at JTHS. The annual JTHS volleyball tournament was a huge success and brought students together from across different grades for a fun and competitive event that helped build school spirit. Jackson Idol was also a great success, showcasing the incredible talent of our school and students, providing an entertaining night for the entire school community.
In the performing arts, the drama department recently held an amazing 3-night run of Mamma Mia. The cast, crew, and directors put on an incredible performance, and it was heartwarming to see so many students and families come out to support the show. The disco ball dance party was a nice bonus and helped the show stand out as an experience unlike any other. Members of the National Honor Society have also continued their commitment to community service. Students recently visited our elementary schools, including Holman, where they spent time reading to classrooms and participating in Dr. Seuss's Read Across America events alongside students from Holman and Elms. Academically, we were proud to recognize our Seniors of the Month, Ethan Polk and Angelina Nguyen, for their hard work, leadership, and dedication to their studies. Students have also had the opportunity to represent JTHS through several education trips and competitions. Members of FBLA competed at the state competition where 6 students earned top 10 rankings in their categories. Our DECA students also competed at the State Career Development Conference, and we would like to congratulate Emily Hirsch, Sadie Hirsch, and Caitlin Gradiola for qualifying for the International Career Development Conference in Atlanta. Additionally, many students participated in the Teen Arts trip to Ocean County College, showcasing all aspects of the arts. Finally, our band represented Jackson Township High School by performing in the New York City St. Patrick's Day Parade, which is a great honor and an exciting opportunity for our student musicians. Thank you for your continued support of the students and staff at Jackson Township High School. We look forward to sharing even more accomplishments in the months ahead. Have a wonderful evening, and as always, go Jags.
As always, thank you both for the comprehensive report of everything that's been happening at the high school. We have actually some pictures we're going to show in a few minutes to support a lot of what both Colin and Peyton just reported on. But I also want to say congratulations to you both. I just learned they both are going to be accepting some college opportunities within the next few days. So congratulations to you both. But we are very excited that you will still be with us for a few more months to continue to report. So we look forward to hearing more from you. I am going to keep my superintendent's report relatively short this evening because we have several presentations. But I do want to just point out some of the wonderful things that have been happening across the district. Actually, like I said, that Colin and Peyton just mentioned. So board members, if you want to just turn around and see some of the slides that Ms. Irwin put together for some of the wonderful things that have been happening. We did have, Read Across America is in the beginning of March. And it is just such a wonderful time, and it is actually near and dear to my heart, being, a literacy teacher at heart. I was able to read to several classrooms this year at both Elms and Switlick, and it is just a joy. It is such a wonderful week of celebration of literature, and excitement for students across the board, every level, for reading is just, it's contagious and it's wonderful. So you see some pictures throughout this slide presentation. You'll see them as I speak to some of the other slides. You heard about the marching band. What an incredible showing yesterday. They had such a great spot in the parade itself that they got a really, really good airtime, and they looked fantastic, professional, just always impressive, so that was fabulous. You heard about some of the wonderful acknowledgments of the hard work of some of our clubs, our DECA club. We have people who are going to nationals in Atlanta. We have staff that's been recognized, both coaches and advisors. Laura Fekak, received a service award for DECA. We have the coaches that both Peyton and Colin mentioned in wrestling and in basketball that have been recognized for their hard work. We have students winning art contests at our 5-6 building. We have, again, the National Honor Society students. How wonderful is that when you have your older students going down with the younger students and really celebrating literature, and our younger students looking up to those older students, wanting to be just like them. Such a wonderful activity. Really cute, some of the things we saw during Read Across America are Switlick super readers or superheroes. They all had capes on, and they were super readers, and they were all learning sounds together in the cafeteria there. It was just fantastic. I'm sure many of you have seen The Masked Singer on TV. We had at home and over there, we had masked readers, mystery readers, and then they revealed who those mystery readers were, and they were all staff in the building. You see these inflatable costumes. Just wonderful things to celebrate literature. I read, we had Dr. Godleski read, Mr. Atante read, some of you read in the schools, and our teachers getting really invested too in dressing as some storybook characters. Give a Mouse a Cookie, one of my favorite books. So like I said, just wonderful things happening across the district. I don't want to spend a ton of time on all of this because it's all been said, but I think it's important for everybody to see just some of these great photos and great things happening across the district. Bowling champions, our girls wrestling. Oh my goodness, what a way to go. On the record for the first high school wins. The winter season was just incredible for athletics. I'm just so proud of this district, of our students, of our staff, who have demonstrated what it means to come together and be unified as one community. I literally have goosebumps right now. I'm just so impressed with so much. Mamma Mia at the high school, I was able to see the number of students that were involved in that show. At one point, there must have been 50 students dancing. Just, again, wonderful things to engage our children and our students in learning experiences beyond the classroom, and then the wonderful instruction happening as well on a daily basis. So thank you to our students, and thank you to our staff for all these wonderful things. I just want to mention a little advertisement here, Mr. Palumbo. Our Trade and Job Fair, March 25th from 6 to 8 at the high school. It's always an amazing event, an opportunity for people to come out and learn about all sorts of trades and what it means to be part of that trade. Trades are incredible. I have family members who are in the trades. It has been treating us well. It is an excellent career. So if you're interested, please come out and to the Trade and Fair show, job fair. With that, we're going to move on with our presentations for this evening. Like I said, we have quite a few, so I wanted to move us quickly there. We're going to start this evening. We have the semi-annual violence and vandalism report and the semi-annual harassment, intimidation, and bullying report. Our Director of Security, Mr. Pajowski, will be presenting those two reports to the Board of Education this evening, and we're going to begin with him tonight. Thank you. There are slides behind you, board members.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight, members of the board and our administration of the Jackson School District. My name is John Pajowski. I'm the Director of School Security, and tonight we'll be doing the semi-annual report, report period 1, September through December 2025, for both the violence and vandalism, substance abuse and weapons offenses in the Jackson School District, and as well as the semi-annual report for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So just a background and overview. State of New Jersey, as you can see, began collecting this data back in March of 2002. And the objective is to collect and report incidents data concerning serious student misconduct in the areas of violence, vandalism, HIB, weapons, and substance abuses. And to the right is a chart, breakdown of the last 3 periods, starting September, December 2024, January, June of 2025, and of course the most recent one, September through December of 2025. And these are the numbers for those areas. The next slide is the violence reports at the elementary levels. This includes fights, assaults, threats, sexual offense, HIB, alleged and confirmed, at all our elementary schools, to include the Jackson Township 5-6 school. And these are the numbers for that. So this is the violence reports for the secondary schools. Again, same categories. And this is for the Jackson Township Middle School and the Jackson Township High School. And these are the numbers. This slide is the vandalism and substance abuse, vandalism incidents. Again, it's the previous 2 report periods to include this one, both at the Jackson Township 5-6 school, the Jackson Township Middle School, and then the Jackson Township High School. And just for context, the previous 2, obviously we had Getz McAuliffe, Liberty and Memorial. Those are the numbers for when we had that, and the section to the right category is for this year. Substance abuse, September through December 2025. These are substances under the influence. The different categories. Again, the previous 2 report periods, and to include this one. And that's the top section. And the bottom section is substances possession of, the different categories. And again, the previous 2 report periods, and to include this most recent one. And those are the numbers for that. These are the weapons offenses for all schools. And just to definition of a weapon, included any instrument readily capable of lethal use or of inflicting bodily injury. But the category is not limited to handguns, rifles, knives, clubs, chains, slingshots, leather bands studded with metal fillings, razor blades, stun guns, and any other device that projects, releases, or emits tear gas or any other substance, e.g. pepper spray, that is intended to produce temporary discomfort or permanent injury through being vaporized or otherwise dispensed in the air. And some examples are a toy gun and also an imitation firearm. And those are the previous 2 report periods, and the third is this year's report period. Okay, action taken by school district. So these are the actions, subcategories. Police filed complaint. That means where the police were notified and there was actual charges signed against. In-school suspension and out-of-school suspension. And then, again, the previous 2 report periods to include the third one, which is the current one, and those are the numbers. And we will continue to strive to ensure a safe district and school environment by bringing school district safety teams and school anti-bullying specialists together to review data, using this data to plan programs and inform practices, approaches, and curriculum, building strong partnerships with the Jackson Police Department, specifically the school resource officers, providing training for school administrators on the effective prevention and response to violence, vandalism, and substance use, educating all stakeholders on how they can make Jackson schools safer, and providing community events to educate parents, guardians about school safety. So this is the semi-annual report for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Again, report period 1 is September through December of 2025. Jackson School District's commitment. The Jackson School District is committed to creating a safe learning environment for all our students, investigating all complaints of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, and preventing all acts of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So we are committed to being proactive and prepared by having behavioral threat assessment training for staff. We have behavioral threat assessment teams training, district and school, understanding school violence training, district training for all school, and ABS policies and procedures for addressing and reporting HIB, violence and vandalism, and substance abuse, and our anti-bullying coordinator with our anti-bullying specialist meetings, reviewing HIB policies and data review, HIB investigation procedures. All right, so on this slide to the left, these are our schools in that column with the respective anti-bullying specialists that work within that school. And to the right are the different events and initiatives that each school does through the first marking period, but also throughout the school year. So our HIB investigations in the elementary level, to include the Jackson Township 5-6 school. This was last year, the column to the left, as a total for September, December of 2025. I apologize, it's 25-26 school year. This is the first report period. And those were the total number of HIB investigations looked into. And then the column to the right for this report marking period 2 is the founded HIBs. So this is the secondary. So these are our middle school, high school. Again, current report period 1. The left column is the total number of incidents that were looked into, and the column to the right are the founded HIB incidents. So this is a comparison of the same time period. I apologize. So this is from September, December of 2024, the total number, and then how many were founded for that period, and compared to the current total September through December of 2025, and the founded ones as well. If you could notice that those numbers were definitely a little bit lower compared to the last report period. So this slide is the motivation found at Hibbs. This is within our school district. These are the different categories, that first bar, of the different reasons why there's motivation for that. The outcomes is the middle section of the investigated Hibb incidents with the consequences and remedial measures. And the bottom section is the location of these Hibbs that we had to investigate. And that column to the right is the classification of actions investigated during the Hibb incidents. These are classification as to why or what the reason was for the Hibb. So in conclusion, with our Hibb complaints, we investigate everything. Hibbs complaint submissions, complaints received in person, telephone, email, or via links located on our district website. There is a Hibb Form 338, which provides a means for students, parents, guardians, or a school staff member to report an incident of Hibb in a confidential manner, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All Hibb complaints are promptly investigated in accordance with District Policy 5512, and that's our harassment, intimidation, and bullying students.
Thank you very much for the comprehensive report. Does the board have any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. So moving forward with the next report, we have our annual Food Service Department report. And we have the Director of Food Service, Gary Haddad, here to provide us with that annual report. So, Mr. Haddad, thank you. And again, board members, I'm sorry, but please turn around for slides.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to serve you at Jackson Township. Been with the district for about 1.5 years, so it's been a pleasure. My name's Gary Haddad, and so we've had a pretty productive year this past year. We've increased our participation throughout the district by 4%, even though we had a district enrollment drop of about almost 7%. So it's been productive. Staff's been very busy with all the redistricting and everything going on. It's been an interesting 6 months. So, and our free and reduced meals have increased to 48%, meaning that 48% of our student population are eligible to receive free and reduced meals through the district. Part of that reason is they expanded Medicare, opened up Medicare for students to be eligible. So if they're on any kind of Medicare, the family's on any kind of Medicare assistance, Medicaid, sorry, yes, they can get meals through the district at no charge. So that we were, prior to 24, we were at 36%, and now we're up to about 48% free and reduced with the expansions. Next slide, please. And some of the infrastructure improvements we made over the last school year, we added a large walk-in freezer to accommodate the added enrollment over at the high school. We put in some equipment so that we could service those 2,300 students in the time frame that we need to serve. And we had to do some restructuring with Crawford with the walk-in box. It was the structure itself, the shell itself was compromised, and we had to replace that. So in total, we spent $286,000 plus minus with some other structural and some other frameworks. So all that to help. And we put some points of services in with kiosks because the high school was going to be a 1-hour block lunch when we first opened up, and that was allowing us to service all those students in that 1 hour. Next slide, please. So it's just some comparative statistics. We had, again, a 7% change. Our lunch participation increased by 4%, and our daily average breakfast, unfortunately, has decreased by 0.28%. Part of that is the restructuring, drop in enrollment, but we've done several things to help improve that, and you'll see that as we go along. So points of service and innovative revenue generators we've have done in the district. So we've did breakfast kiosks. We launched those over at the middle school, and they've been very successful, and as well as the 5-6 building. And we introduced a afternoon snack bar for our students at the high school so that they can stay within the district, don't have to go out to Wawa or Quick Check to get something to eat. As you probably may know, the lunch ends basically at 11:30, so those students that are going to be here from 2 o'clock on, they usually are looking for something to get to eat and sustain them for those activities they have after school. It's just a picture of our kiosk that we have set up at the middle school, 5-6 building as well. It's similar. Students have 10 minutes to get through the line, so we try to be as quick as possible and have them come expedite through there. They grab a breakfast sandwich and a fruit or juice, makes it a complete meal, and then they put their PIN number in, and they're on their way. And then over at the high school, we turned our concession stand into a cafeteria, and our concession stand is now a kitchen. We've put some equipment in there that was part of our improvements. We are looking to do some more expansion there because we're currently servicing about 400 meals a day just for lunch out of there. It's a very small area. So this is what we kind of, our tray line that we kind of improvised as we often do in school food services. So, and that's one of the things that we do holiday caterings, we do outside catering, we provide services for the district internally. This is some holiday catering service we performed for the administration, and we also created a dinner menu for the district, so that if anything outside, when we rent out the buildings, they can order from us instead of going out to the local restaurants, and we can capture those sales. And then we do some theme bars. We do Mediterranean Day here. We just recently did a Chinese New Year celebration. We had egg rolls, and unfortunately, fortune cookies weren't available, but giant sub day. High school kids usually seem to like that pretty well, and that was actually, we did that throughout the district. And we partnered with the work-based learning team, and the students that are in that program have gone out to help in some of the schools. We started out with with Switlick first to do some help with putting together some fruits and vegetables and traying up some items. And it worked out very well, so then we expanded it. Now we do Crawford, Clayton Kitchen, and Memorial Kitchen. So, and we have about 3 students that have some interest in pursuing careers in the food service industry or with the Jackson Township schools. So some of the efficiencies we have in here in the district, the goal for the industry for meals per labor hour, it equates to every hour of paid labor for every meal served. So just a reference point, your Burger Kings, your McDonald's, your quick service restaurants, typically do about 80 to 100 meals per hour for lunch at the busy time frame. We service somewhere between 200 and 300 meals per hour, depending on the school and whatnot. Right now, we're averaging about 3,400 meals per day for lunch, and there's 11 sites with kitchens, but 6 schools. So, and elementary schools are about a 24.6 meal per labor hour. It's a high performance. The standard is 20 to 25 for elementary schools. Your middle schools and your middle schools about the same, 20 to 25, and then your high schools usually about 15 to 20 meals per hour. And our food costs for the for year to date, as of January, end of January, we're at 39%, but that actually was September and October really were high cost. We had a lot of figuring out to do because of the new configuration of the schools, new configuration of buildings. You know, so the whole district was a big learning curve for myself and staff to get those under handle. The last 4 months, we've averaged about 37% food costs. So we're being consistent with that. Our paper and cleaning supplies has been on target. Our labor fringe is a little bit on the high side, but it also shows our commitment to trying to keep things fresh, trying to keep things as scratch-based as possible, as much as possible. And so lunch balances, this is a nationwide issue. Every district you talk to, meal debt is a big, big issue. And in this district, we're right now at $178,000. We don't, in Jackson, we don't dissolve debt, so that's been carried since, you know, the last several years. I believe it might have gotten downsized back during COVID, but I am not sure about. Some districts do absolve it, but it can't come from the food service funds. That has to come through the general fund. We do send out monthly reminders. Towards the end of the school year, I start sending them out probably twice a month. We are reconfiguring our letter so that we can kind of get a little bit more exposure, I guess you would say. And we utilize the parent liaisons in the district. So especially with those bilingual families that we can't communicate. The letter is in Spanish, the letter is in English, but again, sometimes we need a little help reaching out to those families. Some of the misnomers that we're working on educating families with is that they believe that once they submit an application that it absolves them of any debt they had previously. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Once they accrued that money, it has to be paid off. If there's a student that is listed as direct certified because of Medicaid, and that other family member in the household is not on that list, they need to notify us so that we can get them on that list. Wellness report. This is something we do diligently in the district. We have a food advisory committee that encompasses some of this information, and we meet twice a year at each district, each school, and we have discussions about what the child's likes and dislikes are. We invite family members through that as well. We also get some feedback on items that we're thinking of trying to bring into the district. We take their suggestions on theme days, make it so that they have a buy-in to the program. So we also are we've been awarded a grant for $5,000 for sustainability and nutrition education. And this is a example of our Elms School where they started the food share program, and we're looking to expand that throughout the district. And you look, there's, when a child does not want something that they have on their tray, for example, the fresh apples that are in there, they can put that in the share zone, and someone else can come and take that. At the end of the day, we take those fruits and vegetables and we bring them to either pack them up and bring them to the nurse's station sometimes, or we'll donate them to the local food bank. And then we also adhere to offer versus serve in the district. So what that means is that we offer 5 components. We offer the fruit, the vegetable, the grain, the meat alternative, and the milk. Students need to take 3 of those components in order to be considered a meal, and half a cup of that, one of those components has to be a half cup of fruit or vegetable. We also, on the line, we just don't offer the broccoli, and that's it. We offer, a hot vegetable. We offer a cold carrot patch, celery. I try to tell my staff that we want it to look like the rainbow, so when the students come through the line, they see multiple colors out there. There's, fresh fruit, canned fruit, juice, so they have an assortment of items to take. There's signage that tell them, the students, that they can take 2 fruits and 2 vegetables per meal. Often I get, comments from the students in my food advisories that, we're hungry, want more food. Well, I can't unfortunately give them 20 chicken nuggets. I can give them the 5 chicken nuggets, and then they can take as much fruit and vegetables as they like. No cashier is ever going to tell them you have too much fruit and vegetable on your tray. So, and then we try to work with parents as well as with the children and limiting their snack intake. We do follow the smart snack guidelines at the elementary schools and the middle school. So they have the opportunity to purchase low-fat, low-sugar, and whole grain snack items. And we usually try to put those behind the cashier so that this child has to ask for those alternate snacks. And then we do a couple of different things trying to limit access to those things, as well as help with, if the child owes money on their account, we use that to hopefully get them to pay their balance off so they can buy snacks. Parents do have the ability to communicate to us if they want to block certain items from their child's account, spending limits, and our cashiers are usually pretty good in trying to assist those students with making smart choices. So the report on the school wellness policy. So we're in compliance with the district wellness coordinator ensures compliance with Healthy, Hungry, Free Kids Act, HEFCA, and other district wellness goals, and provides an assessment of our wellness policy and Board of Education at a public meeting. So we're in compliance with all regulations district-wide. We continually improve upon the advanced knowledge of healthy menu options and smart snack options at all levels. We display promotion signage and theme days that will encourage breakfast and lunch participation, and we feature new nutritional alternatives, menu items, and place healthier foods first in the service line where students are most likely to choose them. So we also follow we go in and do an audit on each school. It's called the Smarter Lunchroom, and that's something that my staff and myself will go through and we'll look, and it's a Cornell study that was established in 2019, so that we can make sure that we're following the guidelines as well as making it more accessible for the students to take the healthier items. Then on the district website, we have our menu, and parents can block off the allergens to see what that they may contain, if they have any allergens in the district. So our pricing for next year, we're doing a lunch increase of 15 cents. So elementary school will be $3.75, the middle school will be $4, and the high school will be $4.25. And then breakfast will increase by 10 cents. Some of the reasoning behind that is, yes, inflation's been at 2.5% or 4%. However, we're seeing a lot of increases in avian flu is back. They're talking somewhere up as from the processors, close to 80% increase in that price for the processing. And then beef is also going up as well. So hopefully we can stem off those costs. Any questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haddad. We appreciate it. Okay, so one more presentation this evening, and it is a big one. It is our tentative budget. And I'm sure some of you have already seen the state aid numbers were released for the 26-27 school year. And as Mr. Baginski will outline in his presentation with the tentative budget, once again, we have been reduced by state aid with a 3% decrease in our state aid, which was one of the parameters that was put into place. But I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Baginski, who has a very comprehensive presentation to the board and the public on our tentative budget. So Mr. Baginski and board members, you will also again need to turn for the slide presentation.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll start by just acknowledging the work of the business department, who works on budget 365 days a year. This is our opportunity to present it, but we literally start working on next year's budget the day after this budget gets struck. So I'll start by talking a little bit about the budget development timeline. This is a process that involves a large number of people, ranging from our Board of Education members, our Budget and Finance Committee, the Superintendent, Central Administration, our building administrators, many of whom are here in the audience here tonight, department leaders, as I mentioned, the business office, human resources, payroll, transportation. So a huge amount of people involved in this budget development. And for us, it really ramps up in September and October, where we gather together these stakeholders, start to assess the needs and what their needs are and what their needs of the department are. And then we also take a close look at what enrollment is doing, where is it growing, and where do we need to kind of allocate our resources for the next year. So we combine that with whatever the central office's initiatives are, and we create a tentative budget, and that's where we are tonight. One of the big drivers with the budget is enrollment. And so what you're looking at here is a 10-year history of K-12 enrollment in our school district. And as you see in the two columns, I included both the public school student enrollment and the non-public school student enrollment. And the public school student enrollment has been a slight decrease every year over these 10 years, with a total that led to a 22.52% decrease over that 10-year period. Still a large school district with 6,345 public school K-12 students. But when you look at the non-public growth of the non-public students, it's really remarkable. And in fact, this past school year, the number of non-public students in the Jackson Township eclipsed the number of public school students for the first time. And our non-public projections for enrollment are at 8,534. And when you put those two numbers together, it is over 14,000 school-age children residing in Jackson. And that non-public school student population in the 10-year period has grown over 1,164%. This is something that is unique to Jackson. And when you talk to other districts, even districts that are not that far away, with the exception of Lakewood and starting in Toms River, no one can relate to this. And so it is a unique circumstance. The other driving factor in this is the rising growth of our percentage of economically disadvantaged students, and you saw it in Mr. Haddad's presentation. 48% of our public school student population is identified as economically disadvantaged, and so that comes with its own challenges in terms of budgeting. One of the apples-to-apples comparisons that the state does is what's called the Taxpayer's Guide to Education Spending. It used to be called the Comparative Spending Guide. The state puts this out every year, publishes it in December, and so this is the opportunity for school districts to look and see how is our district spending versus other comparable school districts. And when we get compared to other districts, we are in the category of large K-12 districts, so school districts that service a K-12 population and that also have more than 3,500 students. And there are 96 comparable districts that fit that category of large K-12 districts. Out of those 96 districts, our school district was the 4th lowest budgetary cost per pupil in the state. And when you look at some of the other indicators there, and I listed them, we're really in the lower 10th percentile or 20th percentile in almost every single indicator for the state. That is indicative of what has really been austerity measures that our school district has taken on in the last couple of years. When you look at us versus other, this is statewide, but just in our immediate area, there are really no school districts that, with the exception of Toms River, that also spends at a low level, that spends at this low level. And it's not necessarily something to be totally proud of, but I could tell you it's representative of where we've been and what we've forced to have been with regard to the state funding issue that we've been faced with. I'll just note there the total administration and administration salaries and benefits, 16th lowest and 11th lowest. Sometimes you hear that narrative, oh, that school district's top heavy. Look, they got so many administrators. That is not the case in the Jackson Township School District. The data does not support that, and when you compare us statewide, it certainly doesn't support it. One of the other considerations, and this is not a slide that's unique to this year, is where we spend versus what's called the adequacy budget set forth by the state. And the state, and the two links there are to the actual New Jersey Educational Adequacy Report, which talks about how the state calculates this. And basically what it is the state says, based on all of the factors that we have, they determine what Jackson Township should be spending to provide a thorough and efficient education for the students of Jackson. We fell below adequacy in 22-23, and we were $1.1 million below that threshold. You could see where we were every year after that. Last year, our current budget season, we were spending $32.4 million below what the state says Jackson Township should be spending to provide a thorough and efficient education. We just ran the numbers based on the new state aid calculation, and we're still $29.65 million below on the projection for next year. This is after closing 2 schools, redistricting, restructuring, and we're still there. And that's the state's own calculation. So taking a look at how we're spending our money, I'm going to talk a little bit of detail about each of these subcategories. And each of these subcategories makes up our entire spending plan, which you could see there for 26-27 is $160,734,000 worth of spending. So the first topic, salaries. Our salaries line item, this incorporates all general fund salaries, is going up by $740,000, which is less than 1% for next year. All right, so when you look at a 10-year history of our salaries, it's really remarkable of what this school district has been able to do to contain the costs associated with salaries. And in fact, we're projected to spend less in salaries next year than we spent in 2017, 2018. That came at a cost. It came at a cost of eliminating 376 positions during that S2 time period. But I will tell you, it has not compromised the level of education that we provided. We have hardworking people. The salaries make up the lifeblood of the school district, the people who work every day to make sure that the students have the education, the quality education that they deserve. We're just able to do it in a very frugal manner. I can tell you, and this is an important note, if you just go back, Allison, on the next one. In red there, any personnel reductions for 26, 27 will be accomplished through attrition or breakage. So I want that message to be clear because, when we have, what attrition and breakage is means when we have a retirement or a resignation, all right, the person who replaces them, looking at what the new person comes in at, that's considered breakage. And so no staff member is going to be, to lose their job because of a budgetary reason, all right? If we do that, it's going to be through resignations and retirements. So the other piece of the salaries line item is health benefits. And health benefits, I think I not so jokingly referred to this as the gigantic asteroid heading toward the school district. But really, it's not just our school district, it's the entire state of New Jersey. And when you look at the state of New Jersey, and if you go to the next slide, Allison, everyone is facing these same cost drivers, which include high-cost prescription drugs, specifically those GLP-1 meds that are very expensive, outpatient care, and the increase of utilization of it. Economic inflation with regard to prescription drug costs is a big factor, and the post-pandemic care rebound, where people didn't go to the doctor, they didn't do screenings, and now all of that comes roaring back with higher medical bills and higher prescription costs. And so we've been able to keep a lid on it, but like the rest of the state, that number is going up rather large, more than 25%. Comparably to the state, and this is on January 1st, the state school employees health benefits program experienced an increase in their rates of 31.9%. So we're doing better than the state, but it's still a major obstacle for this budget. The next two line items, school budgets and facility and capital non-salary. So both of these budgetary line items are going up for next year. And I can tell you that both of these budgetary line items tie directly to the experience that students have in the classroom. All right, with regard to school budgets, our school budgets are going up by about 25% next year. And this is something that's sorely needed. They've gone through a period of frugal austerity that has forced them to utilize every resource they had to the greatest extent, and they will continue to do that, but now they'll have some room in the budget to do the things that they haven't been able to do. Those kinds of things are technology, textbooks, classroom instructional supplies, including professional development, which is something that is critically important in the field of education. With regard to facility and capital, well, we're kind of tied to energy costs. I think we've experienced the worst of it as far as increases go, I hope. But we also have aging buildings that need maintenance, and so we are spending more money and project to spend more money on maintaining those facilities and capital projects, specifically HVAC projects and paving. These two numbers are very tied to inflation, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you see the 5-year history of inflation for our Mid-Atlantic region, and those numbers drive a lot of those costs. So it's difficult to keep up. With regard to administrative and instructional support spending, there's the number for 25-26 looks a little out of whack. It's because when we sold the Rosenauer School in May 2025, we received a loan from the state to carry us over through the closing. So they gave us the money in May 2025, and we're paying it back during the school year, so it's showing up as an expense. So really that $14.5 million, $9.4 million of it is that money that just came in and went out. But in 26-27, that $5.8 million does include, it includes a $600,000 payment back of our original advanced state aid loan to the state, and it also includes the annual cost of the state-assigned fiscal monitor. Two things that, don't tie to direct instruction, but we're saddled with because of what happened when we had to take that loan. Out-of-district tuition is another budgetary stressor for most school districts most public school districts in the state of New Jersey. We have done a tremendous job creating programs in our district to service the needs of our students, to keep as many students in district, but it is a difficult challenge. And we are projecting 50 out-of-district placements for next year, and you can see the history here, which is really a rather remarkable history, going from 92 in 2019 to 2020, all the way down to a low of 44 during the 25-26 school year. But there is only so much you can do. You have to meet the needs of these students. And when a student does go to an out-of-district placement, the average cost for that right now for a student going out of district in Jackson is $149,000 per year. And so those are costs that, those schools that set those tuition, they're not tied to the 2% cap, all right? The tuition rate increases get set at a much higher rate, and it's a challenge to keep these costs down. The next category, aid in lieu of transportation for non-public students. This is a number that is increasing again by a very large number, by 1.5 million. It's more than an 18% increase in our budget. And it's another one of those numbers that other school districts don't have to have in their budget. In fact, when you look at our aid in lieu costs over the last 10 years, we went from 589,500 to we're projecting 9.7 million for next year. Now we do get some money in non-public transportation aid back from the state, but it only covers about 35 to 40% of the total cost there. And for example, in 26-27, we're projected to spend 9.7 million. We're projecting to bring in 3.3 million in non-public transportation aid. That $6.3 million difference comes right out of our budget. And that is a line item that, again, unless you're Jackson Township, Lakewood Township, and to the Toms River to a certain extent, you don't have that in your budget. The last category is transportation, and this is not including salary or aid in lieu payments. And our transportation budget is going slightly down. It's essentially a flat budget. Our transportation department has done an excellent job of trying to contain costs with regard to updating our fleet and having a rotation of getting new school buses so that we don't have to spend as much money to repair those vehicles. Also, we've made out pretty good on fuel so far. The past couple of weeks haven't been so good, and hopefully that trend doesn't continue. But that has been another cost savings for the district, and so that budget is flat for next year. So all told, the expense categories, you can see where the percentage of the expenses come from, and the two largest one are people related. 74% of our salary, of our expense budget comes from people, salary and health benefits. And you can see where the rest of the percentages come from. So turning our attention to revenue. So on the revenue side, we have several different sources of revenue that make up where our money comes from. And they include federal, state, and then local revenue. And so I'm going to talk about each one of those in detail. So moving to the state and the categorical state aid. So categorical state aid is the state aid that everybody talks about. This is the one that comes to the district, and this is the one that has been radically cut over the years through S2. And so just as we had predicted, it represents a negative 3% cut, a $680,000 cut from last year. This was the 22nd largest cut in the state of New Jersey this year. So we've been on the biggest loser list, the top 10 in previous years, so I guess 22nd's not so bad. But when you talk about 600 plus school districts in the state of New Jersey, it's really a travesty considering what we've been cut so far. And so why are we only cut negative 3%? We were only cut negative 3% because the state set guardrails up and said that last year they did this for the first time and said no district should have to experience more than a 3% cut and no district should get more than 6%. So we literally got the maximum cut they could possibly give us, even though it was only 3%. And when you look at the history here, and this slide's been up every budget presentation that I've ever done, this is where you can see exactly the narrative of where things got very, very difficult in Jackson. When you look at think about that. Negative 3% is the maximum cut. The state said nobody should have to do more than that the last 2 years. Look at those years from 2020 to 2025. Negative 7.5%, negative 10%, negative 12%, negative 18%, negative, and the dollar amounts that go with them. That's losing income that never comes back. That number just keeps going down. It's like having a pay decrease every year in your household, but your expenses are just going up, and you just got to make it work. And when you compare that to enrollment, the enrollment has decreased. It certainly hasn't decreased in relation to the categorical state aid. That is a false narrative that we have heard from different people, and I could tell you, it was never tied to enrollment, and it certainly isn't tied to enrollment anymore. When you look at the total reduction, 55.6% reduction during that time period in state aid, 22.5% reduction in enrollment. So it just doesn't equate. Get off the soapbox, turn our attention to the other state aid, all right, extraordinary special education aid and non-public transportation aid. These are driven by your metrics inside the school district. So extraordinary special education aid provides partial reimbursement for exceptionally high costs for special education students. Okay, it is a pot of money that the state puts aside, and depending on how many districts are eligible, the state allocates that money. That's why we're only budgeting a flat amount, because it could go down, it could go up slightly. We don't know what it is until the state determines how much money they have in the pot and how much every district is going to get. Non-public transportation aid is a calculus driven by the number of students you have and the difference between, they reimburse us for expenses beyond $710 per student and less than the aid in lieu number of $1177. But up to that first $710, it's on the district. So the other funding sources, federal and state grants. This is a lifesaver for us. These we are budgeting $14.3 million in grant money that would come in from the federal or state government. This includes IDEA, ESEA, Title I through IV, the state preschool grant. So these are things that absolutely provide opportunities that we normally wouldn't have in our regular budget. And our district has done a great job of pursuing grants and receiving them and making excellent opportunities for our students. So when it comes to the local share, all right, this is literally from our state aid notice. It's a picture. That's why it looks grainy here. But this is the calculation of how the state calculates what's considered local fair share. So there's two metrics that go into this. The first is the total property values in Jackson, which is listed there, and the residents' total income. Those two numbers, and they take a 3-year average of those two numbers, and those two numbers go together to make the calculation to determine what is Jackson's local fair share. What the state determines that Jackson should be spending in their tax levy to support the schools in Jackson. And you can see that number is $150,559,000. They compare that to what the general fund tax levy is. And 25-26, our general fund tax levy was $107 million. So the state's assertion is that Jackson is spending below local fair share, where Jackson Township is not providing the local tax levy to the point where it matches the local fair share, and that's why we keep getting our funding cut. So that's the state's explanation of local fair share. How does this factor in? Well, obviously, if we're getting cut in state aid, where does that money have to get made up if you want to keep moving things forward? It comes from local revenue. And so this year, the general fund tax levy includes both a 2% tax levy increase, and we are eligible for an adjustment for a health benefit cap waiver because our health benefit costs are so large. And so the vast majority of school districts in the state of New Jersey, because of the health benefits costs, are eligible for this year and will be utilizing it in their budget in some capacity. You could see some of the other local revenues, including miscellaneous income, which is income we get from rentals, food service, childcare, So we've done well with that, and we anticipate to continue to do well with that. There is no budgetary line item for a sale of property for next school year. You can see the 25-26 budget did have that. And then the free balance, that's our surplus. So we're anticipating a large surplus because we're anticipating the closing of the McCullough property. And so the free balance is us utilizing a portion of that surplus to go towards next year's budget. So all told, the local revenue is increasing by over $2.3 million for next year. What does this mean for the local taxpayer? Well, the general fund tax levy adds up to $116 million. The debt service tax levy is $7.7 million, and those two together go together to make up the total tax levy. And so the total tax increase to the total tax levy is just over $9.2 million for next year. For the average assessed property in Jackson, the average assessed property in Jackson is identified as $654,839 for 26-27. It would mean a $305 per year increase for the local tax, for that average assessed property, which amounts to be just $25.42 per month. And this increase is due almost wholly because of the healthcare costs and the eligibility for the health benefit cap waiver. So this budget is not all doom and gloom, and I want to make it very clear to you, this district is moving forward. This district has done great things and continues to do great things with whatever resources they have available to them. This budget includes a 25% increase to all the school budgets, which is direct resources to students and staff. It includes new teaching resources for an enhanced social studies curriculum in grades 7 to 12. It includes allocations to plan and implement a flexible learning academy at the high school. It includes the replacement of all high school Mac labs for all instructional classrooms and TV studios. It includes allocations to launch an interscholastic middle school volleyball program for boys and girls next year. It includes allocations to address some of the facility issues through capital and maintenance reserves to address the highest priority needs in the district, specifically HVAC replacements, maybe even some partial roofing replacements and paving. It includes a technology equipment lease renewal to replace all student Chromebooks in the school district for next school year. And it includes an expansion of high school offerings, including APs and electives for next year. So this is some great stuff that the school district is going to have in this budget for next year that is going to keep this district moving forward. So altogether, this is a balanced budget, which is the requirement that we have to put forth. It continues to achieve and establish educational goals, and it's essentially a flat budget. I mean, a 0.07% increase over year. Again, a lot of work goes into this from a lot of different people. This entire district should be proud of this budget because I certainly am.
Mr. Baginski, an excellent comprehensive outline to exactly what has happened in this district. You and I have presented so many of these presentations to explain the history here, and this one just really puts it together nicely of exactly what has been happening historically here, how the district has addressed those issues, and I want to really repeat and reiterate what Mr. Baginski just said. I'm very proud of this district for doing the hard work. This was difficult these last 10 years, but specifically the last few. And had we not acted over these last few years, we would be in a very difficult position for our students. This budget is supporting everything that already exists for our students, keeping our staff, and then also increasing opportunities for our students, even while being cut. So I appreciate all the work of everybody in this district, including the board, in making sure that we can preserve programs and expand them for our students. I now open it up to the board for comment and questions.
I had a couple comments. Mr. Baginski, for the state saying that our T&E is below, is that based on strictly this local fair share
What's going on?
You know how the state says we're below T&E? Adequacy budget, yes. Is the adequacy just strictly based on the local fair share not being there, or?
Yeah, adequacy is related just to our spending. It's what the state calculates we should be spending. The state says we should be spending, based on next year's budget, $29 million more to educate our students to provide a thorough and efficient education.
So I'm just, I was sitting here and doing math, right? So when you said, also showed a slide, and I didn't take note on the slide, but there was a difference of about 43 million from what the state said on that grainy slide that we should be taking in on the general fund to what we actually do take in on the general fund. But then you're talking about adequacy, like none of those numbers even jive up then, because that's a $43 million difference. And you're talking about less than that. So are they looking for us to take in more money than actually is necessary, or I'm just trying to understand?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like local fair share is a concept that the state wants to convey to townships and municipalities that they should be spending a certain amount on the tax levy to support their schools. Adequacy is about what the actual number that we're spending versus how many custodians you should have, how many guidance counselors you should have, the kind of spending. Correct, yeah.
My last question, so when you showed us the state aid, we got our categorical transportation, special education. Special education went down, but then you also showed us our out-of-district placements. Do they give us and determine our funding based on the fact that in the year prior we were down from 48 to 44, like it was 44 students, not this year, but last year, and like how do they determine that aid? Like
I would actually say
because you said the out-of-district placements cost $149 on average $1,000, and the difference was, I didn't write the difference down, but I did the math on my calculator, and it was 6 students in out-of-district placements. So it's just kind of like interesting. How did they come up with that number?
I would actually make an argument that because we have such good programs and because we've been able to reduce the number of students out of district and reduce the costs, we've gotten less aid because of it. That it's actually disincentivized. I mean, I believe that's the case. But.
Well, that's a shame on the state. Last thing is, I just wanted to ask about, we got a 3% negative, and obviously there's a guardrail, and it could have been more. But a lot of, as you pointed out, in Ocean County, we're like one of the biggest losers, and a lot of people went up. But it's been in the newspaper everywhere that so many townships are struggling to meet. They knew they were going to be in a big deficit. Do you feel that, they're getting 6% is going to fix their deficit, or even all these districts, are they still necessarily going to have problems?
Well, plus 6% is definitely better than -3, but I would say that the increases in the health benefit costs that we're all dealing with, all school districts, really go far beyond what any kind of that kind of an increase in state aid. It's too much to overcome.
So you're predicting that even with all of our local communities maybe receiving more than we did, they might still have deficit issues, and in the end, we are at a balanced budget with a minimal budgetary change.
Yeah.
And I just want to kind of point that out.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to commend you, Dan, because, Mr. Baginski, because when you do a presentation, it is always clear, it is always concise, and I think even for the general public, I know you've educated us. Just the way that you do it, I just want to say thank you because it's a great job. Thanks.
I too want to thank you. You always do a terrific job. One of the things is the narrative out there is that if the non-public student population, because they are not added to our district, that is actually a savings. My thought is that is not true because the state gives us money based on the population, our enrollment. So if they were added, then we would actually be getting the correct amount of funds. Do you believe that is one of the things that is the fault in the formula?
Well, you would have the cost to educate them. You would, but you would definitely get more funding. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Special education aid, how is that figured?
Special ed extraordinary aid?
Yeah.
So it's the there's different categories and tiers, so depending on the severity of the need. So I believe there's a certain reimbursement for students who are a certain type of disability for transportation costs, for the paraprofessionals. It depends on the severity of it, and then, so it's a math calculation. But that's just your eligibility. The actual determination of it has to do with how much money the state has set aside and how many school districts are tapping into it.
So that may not be a true number. It could be reduced.
Right. Yeah.
How about equalized aid? Where does that come from?
How about what? Equalization. Oh, equalization aid. So equalization aid was something that the state still does for certain school districts that they feel are underfunded, and so that they can they run the categorical aid and they don't feel it's enough, so they use the equalization aid to bring them up.
So we'll never qualify for that.
Ours is 0, so it's not, doesn't even make the slide.
Thanks.
Oh, I had one other note, Mr. Baginski. When we did the difference between the 150 that the state, 150 million that the state said that we should be collecting from the local people versus what we are, it was 43 million. Is that dollar for dollar? Like, is it 43% difference, or is it not dollar for dollar? Do you know?
Yeah.
It's dollar for dollar, so it'd be a 43%.
They expect us to be up to that dollar. So yeah, I guess dollar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's dollar to dollar. Wow.
According to that formula that Mr. Baginski presented, it's because of the way that it's calculated, the value of the homes and the wealth of the town, saying that that's the local fair share. That's what that document demonstrates.
Right, but it's so interesting because our local fair share covers 68% of our budget. So that would almost feel like it would be 100%, where's your income tax going and how are you getting it back?
Yeah, right.
As a taxpayer.
Yes.
It's really it's mind-blowing, actually.
Agree.
Grant and aid, that's not a definite, is it? Those numbers?
The what aid?
We couldn't hear you. Can you say
The
again?
grant and aids that we get from funding?
So some of them are definite numbers. If we go back to that slide real quick. Yeah, so we're budgeting 75% of Title 1 through 4 because that's what we've been told to budget for. So whatever we got this year, we're budgeting 75% of that for next year. But the preschool aid, this preschool grant, that number came through on the state aid notice, so that's the actual number.
Okay.
Yes, and then the other grants down the bottom in yellow are grants that we've accepted, and those are actual dollar amounts that we will be receiving.
So since you did at 75%, we could actually do better with that.
Yep.
Okay, then we see the numbers up there.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, with that, that concludes my superintendent's report. And again, thank you to all who presented tonight. So, Ms. Gardella, I pass it back to you. And we have no fiscal monitor.
Yes, we have no fiscal monitor report. Sorry, my screen is not changing for some reason. I lost internet, guys. We have standing committee reports. I'm just going to say Budget and Finance. Mr. Baginski was the report, and then we'll move into Buildings and Grounds.
Yes, for Buildings and Grounds, Jackson Township High School locker rooms were cleaned, sanded, and repainted, including walls and lockers. That's for the stadium locker rooms. Jackson Township High School home economics classroom, existing gas stove range was removed and new unit installed. Jackson Township High School wood shop exhaust system was repaired to improve indoor air quality. Also at the high school, 4 new fire door closures were replaced as required by fire official. Jackson Township Middle School, fine arts exterior canopy lighting was repaired. Jackson Township 5-6 School, the MUA vacuumed the kitchen grease trap. In addition, the in-house plumber repaired a clogged line to the cafeteria area. Crawford Rodriguez cooling tower was filled, serviced, and checked in preparation for the AC season. Transportation building, a 3rd new lift station pump was installed for the transportation building restrooms. The MUA also evacuated the lift station twice. Administration building, a new backflow preventer was installed on the main water line by the in-house plumber. Also, I'm going to give an update for superintendent search. As previously shared, Ms. Permilli has announced her intention to retire effective July 1st, 2026. After reviewing all submitted application packets, the board has selected candidates to participate in the first round of interviews, which took place on March 2nd and March 3rd. We extend our sincere appreciation to everyone who expressed interest in serving as our next superintendent. The board is moving forward with the second round of interviews on March 23rd. I just wanted to thank all the board members for prioritizing the scheduling of these sessions to ensure that we remain on track with our timeline for naming the successor. Thank you.
Transportation? No report. Curriculum and instruction, no report. Ad hoc committees as needed. Scholarship.
The committee will meet on April 15th to select the last of the scholarships with the guidance department, and the students will be notified of their winning a certain scholarship in the first week in May. That is all.
Thank you. State and county school boards?
Next legislative meeting is May 30th, virtually at 9 o'clock.
Advocacy, we did send out emails to multiple legislators and didn't hear anything. I do have something I'm going to say in my board comments. I saw something from Assemblyman Zwicky, but we didn't speak as a committee, so I'll share that then. Policy and regulations, I need a motion for approval of policy second reading and adoption.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera? Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes. Policy and regulations, I need a motion for approval of policy and regulations abolishment.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes. I need a motion for approval of the minutes, the closed session meeting February 18th, 2026, and the official board meeting February 18th, 2026 business meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas? Yes. Mrs. Cass? Yes. Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes. I need a motion for approval of the bill list.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes. I need a motion for approval of the treasurer's and board secretary's report.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes. I need a motion to open the public forum on agenda items only. We will hold another public forum during this meeting for any other questions. This public forum will be for questions on the agenda only.
Motion.
Second.
Please sign in and state your name and whether or not you are a Jackson resident. Each person is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. No person may speak more than once on the topic until all others have been heard. Are there any other additional agenda-only questions? Seeing no one come forward, I need a motion to close public forum.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolutions for action. I need a motion to move finance.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
I just want to thank, we got an anonymous donation of $1,000 towards our unpaid lunch balance, and I think it should be recognized. Thank you.
I also wanted to ask Mr. Baginski, the finance number 6 surplus items, will those go on Gov Deals?
If they have any value whatsoever, we will put them on Gov Deals tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. I'm just going through
Maybe tomorrow.
through my items here. I made a
Soon.
note, same as Ms. Cass, about the anonymous donation. Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass? Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas? Mrs. Barocas?
Can you close that? Number 2? Yes to everything except number 2.
Mrs. Cass?
So I'm sorry.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
No?
No?
No to 2? Are you voting
No to
no?
number, no to number 2.
No to number 2, yes to everything else. Got it. Mr. Walsh?
No to number 1, yes to everything else.
Mrs. Rivera?
No to number 2, yes to everything else.
Yeah. Number 1 is all of the motions, the program motions. Mr. Walsh, do you want it?
Let me switch that. No to
Okay.
number 2.
Got it. No to number 2. Okay. Mrs. Rivera?
Yes to everything besides number 2.
Yes, but no to number 2? Got it. Mr. McCarron?
Yes to everything.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes to everything, no to number 2.
So everything except number 2 carried.
So the calendar, the revised calendar did not pass.
Correct.
Right.
That is something we're going to need to discuss because now we have no calendar and I'm not sure when the staff is supposed to report or not report. So we're going to need to figure out a plan. This is the current calendar, folks. This is
Yeah,
this
I
year's
mean,
calendar.
I didn't expect everybody to vote no on that. I was just making a comment. I didn't
Yeah, I'm a little
feel that we should
blindsided.
do the
I guess I
29th.
thought we were only voting on the 29th. I didn't know it was the whole calendar.
This is the entire revised calendar. So it now just did not pass, which means we're going to need to figure out when my staff and my students are supposed to be here.
Correct, that was for this year.
This year's calendar.
I can change my vote to yes, although I don't think that.
Can you?
Frankly, someone who, well, since many of them voted no, someone who voted against it should move for reconsideration of that item. Technically, is what should be done.
So should we
So there should be
start?
a motion to
So I can move for
reconsider
reconsideration?
item number 2, motion and second, and then the board votes on the reconsideration that reopens the item before the board. That's the correct way to do it.
Go ahead.
So make a motion to reconsider if you wish,
I make a motion to reconsider.
and then a second. Someone needs
Second.
a second, okay. Then you would do a vote on the motion to
Okay.
reconsider.
So the motion to reconsider,
Right, on number 2.
Mrs. Barocas, number 2.
Right, and that just brings it back. At that point, then it's back before you. Then you can discuss the motion again
Okay.
and revote on it. Yeah, well,
Discussion.
first you need to adopt the motion to reconsider.
Okay, so Mrs. Barocas, to adopt to reconsider the motion.
That just brings it back before the body, so
Yeah.
you're just voting to reconsider.
Yes. Mrs. Cass,
I'll vote yes.
Mr. Walsh. This is the motion to reconsider number 2.
Right, just
Yes.
to bring it back on the table.
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. McCarron.
Still yes.
Sorry, say that again?
Still yes, he said?
Yes, okay. Mrs. Gardella.
Brings it back to have a
Yes.
discussion.
Okay.
So that motion is back before the body now, so now you can discuss it, basically, because you now have the motion in front of you whether or not to approve the calendar. If there's any discussion, you can have that discussion now before you vote.
So the discussion is, can I start the discussion, right? So the discussion is that on the calendar, for argument's sake, you know, if there was another blizzard or, you know, we had the storms the other night, let's say power went out. So the first 2 days to go are April 2nd, April 1st, no problems. But then we go into June 29th. And I don't think at this point we have camps that start on June 29th. We have staff that starts summer jobs. I just don't want to put us in that position where if we're able to adjust that bubble, that box, and just have April 2nd and April 1st, you know, I'm all for it. I think the June 29th just puts us in a scenario where, you know, everyone has plans. We're literally right, because we've brought this calendar so close to, you know, the end of the year, we're going right into people's summer plans.
So I can comment? Okay. We certainly can revisit the makeup day, shall we need it?
Okay.
Again, that's something we could always revisit. That's just a suggested makeup day, should we need it, in the calendar. And I just want to be clear, obviously, I think you all know this, but obviously this wasn't by design purposely.
Of course not.
Right. So we, you know, the days that we put back into the calendar were out of necessity. And we certainly can look at the 19th and make that a half day should we need another day. But, you know, that's not something I think that's something we can talk about and just adjust. I don't think it's a reason to not vote the calendar. Had I known it was an issue for this year, I could have adjusted it beforehand. I just didn't realize it was going to be a big issue.
I think we thought if we approved it, then we're stuck with, like the way, because it's on the agenda, then
Is the note to say that we said, hey, in advance, guys, you took June 29th? Whereas to me, I feel like we took Passover, we took a lot of things, so if we had to go to that, being that community pass already came out to residents regarding the 29th, I'd rather see the 19th impacted.
No, I hear what you're all saying. You would like the 19th to be impacted should we have another closure and have to put a day back?
Yes, absolutely.
I completely hear you. I just want you to know the box at the bottom, the final options will be considered as the winter progresses. They're considered. It's not a requirement that we do it that way.
Okay.
So we can make those adjustments. The important part is that we communicate that to the public. So if hopefully it doesn't happen.
Right.
But if we needed to, we could consider saying, you know, instead of going to the 29th, we can look at the 19th.
Okay.
As long as we communicate it to the public and to our staff. And let's all just cross our fingers that we won't need that day, of course.
Absolutely.
No more bad weather.
Roll call. Any other discussion? Roll call.
So we're voting on,
Voting back on number.
okay,
On number two
number
again.
2 only,
Right,
as is.
right, correct.
Mrs. Barocas,
Yes.
Mrs. Cass,
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. McCarron,
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella.
Yes. Resolutions for action, I need a motion to move students.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas,
Yes.
Mrs. Cass.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera, Mr. McCarron,
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella.
Yes. Resolutions for action, I need a motion to move personnel.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Barocas.
Yes.
Mrs. Cass.
Yes.
Mr. Walsh,
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. McCarron,
Yes.
Mrs. Gardella.
Yes. I need a motion to open the public forum on any topic pertaining to the Board of Education.
Second.
Please sign in and state your name and whether or not you are a Jackson resident. Each person is allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. No person may speak more than once on the topic until all others have been heard.
How you doing? My name is Tom Riley. I live on Fox Drive. There's a couple concerns I want to just bring up to the board. When we have a snow day, I understand it is what it is. Everybody has to adjust accordingly to the closure of school, and everybody takes off of work and whatnot. I think replacing those lost days with half days also really impacts parents. Because instead of being replaced with a full day and having a half day, now people are obligated to take, half a day off from work. And when you multiply that by 4, it starts to add up. People don't have the luxury of taking that kind of time off in some cases. I'm also concerned about the loss of instructional time. Most of these snow days happen in January, February, March. And when you have a high school doing block scheduling, you're losing significant amounts of instructional time for the second half of the school year in high school. It may not sound like a lot, but it does have an impact. It does add up. Second thing that concerned me was when we lost the internet and we had to close the school for the internet, just how reliant we were becoming on technology. The fact that there is no analog contingency that has been drawn up is a little concerning. I didn't plan for to be home with my kids because the internet was down. Neither did my job. Thirdly, it seems like the blizzard made everybody's mind break up at Johnson. The traffic control is just getting nuts. Just today alone, 2 people trying to go in the out. Just watch them, just go in the opposite flow of traffic because they didn't give a you-know-what. The fact that there's a giant bus from one of the after-school off-site activities. I don't know if it's a karate school or something like that. And he just parks the bus and idles, and it's a diesel burning bus. And the fumes are noxious, frankly. And what I'm hoping that the board can do is ask law enforcement to come down, because the school resource officer can only do so much legally. But I think that sometimes the police do need to come in. It doesn't take long. It's more the afternoon than the morning. It only has to be there for 15 minutes. It's not one cop that can just come down and show that they're paying attention to ensure that people are abiding by traffic laws. I saw the presentation for the school lunches. One of the things I didn't know was that I can actually control what my child is allowed to have for lunch. The reason why I run a negative $20 to $40 balance is because I don't want my daughter to buy snacks, because if I give her money, whether it's physical money or the digital money now, she's going to subsist on snacks. So by running the negative balance, I know that she's not allowed to have a snack. And the last thing is, I just want to give high praise to the Johnson PTO, who, just do an enormous amount of work in there. They don't get paid. It's just an enormous amount of time. And I just want to give them a lot of praise for what they do and what they do for my kids and everybody's kids in that school. Thanks.
Are there any additional questions? Seeing no one come forward, I need a motion to close public forum.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you want to make a comment?
Yes, thank you. So I just want to make a couple of comments. First of all, thank you for sharing your concerns. And I just want to let you know I'm also always available. You can email, call if you have any concerns or questions or follow-up. Obviously, the snow closures and the emergency closure that we had this year was not common. We haven't experienced something like that in probably a decade with the amount of snow that we had and the storms that we had. And we recognize it's not ideal. We agree, not ideal. And we always strive to improve in making decisions. It was definitely not an easy decision to make. And balancing, obviously instructional time is extremely important, and we value that. Also making sure we have enough coverage in our schools, of staff, and all of those things go into consideration. But we strive to get better every time. I just wanted to address the internet loss. So our phones are also based on the internet, and we did have a unique situation in where there were poles down from the storm in an area, as we explained in our communication, that JCP&L was communicating and saying that our internet provider was not permitted to go into that area to even assess the situation, to know what the damage was to fix it. And so we struggled with, honestly, communication. We anticipated, if you remember, we did a delayed opening first, anticipating, because the information that was coming to us was that it would be repaired earlier. We thought we'd be able to get in on that day, and unfortunately, it got delayed and delayed and delayed, and as you learned, wasn't even fixed until the following day at the end of that day. So it was a communication issue and the access issue. We do have contingency plans now. They are in place should we lose both phones and internet. So we have put a plan in place. And again, wasn't ideal, but unfortunately it was a situation that just transpired on those days. And then again, let's hope this never happens again. But we agree, we should not be that reliant on the internet. But we definitely have contingency plans. We met, debriefed, and have been working with all administration on that. I too agree that our PTNs do a ton of work here. And I always thank our parents. This is a shared endeavor in raising students and educating students, and we could not do it if it were not for the help of our parents. So I agree with you, and I'm actually meeting with the new chief next week. We'll bring up your concerns. Okay? Thank you.
I'd like to open the meeting to board comments, starting with Ms. Barocas.
So first of all, I wanted to, thank you again to Mr. Baginski for doing an amazing job on presenting the budget. I can't even believe the amount of work that you and your staff put into this, and I can't thank you enough for doing such a great job. Congratulations to our girls and boys wrestling teams, the boys and girls basketball teams, and our bowling team on the tremendous success they had during their season. I also was able to see our marching band during the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and wow, what an amazing, just an amazing thing to see our school not only representing Jackson, but representing the state. They got so much press that day, and I'm just really impressed by them. So congratulations on having that opportunity. And last but not least, a big, happy 18th birthday to my daughter, Paige. Have a good night, everyone.
I just want to congratulate the girls wrestling team too. That's just amazing. All of our sports, as you said, bowling, boys wrestling, we have a lot to be proud of in this district. The band and the parade. I had the opportunity of seeing the play last Friday. I just have to say that Mamma Mia was outstanding, and I can say that because I actually saw the Broadway production back in November. Our production put them to shame. The energy and the enthusiasm, when I went to New York City, I was actually a little disappointed, thinking, wow, everybody always talks about it. Our show, hands down, it was just phenomenal. So again, kudos, our students, staff, just amazing. And congratulations to DECA. I always have to give them a shout out, and good luck on the next competition. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you all for coming out this evening and viewing us live stream. I went to see, and thank you for all the overall presentations. I went to see Mamma Mia. It was amazing performance, along with during the Read Across America, went to read at a classroom at Elms. It was great interactions and student engagement. Everyone have a safe and great night.
Kudos to all the athletic teams. Kudos to the presentation, the budget, all the administrators, because I know they all put their little 2 cents into it. I know what they have to do as far as that's concerned. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about has to do with something that I'm not liking, okay, in the calendar, all right? And it's because when we have half days, okay, we lose time in the classroom with half days. And it seems like, and it's not just this district. I was looking at all the calendars at all the districts, and it seems like they put more and more half days into their calendars. Okay, that's less time that the kids spend in the classroom, and that's where all the wonder happens, in the classroom. So that's just my pet peeve. That's only my opinion, okay? But I've been kind of at this for a long time, all right? If they're not in the classroom, okay, nothing's happening. Have a good night.
I think everybody covered all the athletics. Congratulations to everybody's wins. Just wanted to say thanks to Mr. Baginski, Mr. Rotante, and Dr. Godleski for the tours of the buildings that we set up last week. It was good to get into the buildings, see them, see everything that's going on, and it's great to see firsthand all the great things happening in our district. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm echoing everybody, but I have to point out I watched Mamma Mia, and there was a young man that came out in the last 3 minutes, and he's come and spoke at many of our board meetings. I recognized him. And he was the father, I think it was Faraday was the name. And as soon as he came out, man, I just want to say bravo. He nailed that part, and I had to laugh out loud. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. Kudos to everybody in that production, and obviously we've highlighted all the athletics. And I just wanted to point out that Assemblyman Alex Zawicki put a bill in today with the Assembly. It's number A4750. It's meant to provide relief to school districts who in the past 2 years have went over the tax levy cap by 9.9%. And where healthcare costs, I did not see a percentage of that increase. It just said an increase in healthcare costs. And the bill would be therefore a state issue, and the state should therefore correct that issue, and it should not be a local issue. So I don't know if his bill will have any traction. To anybody who is an advocate or might want to send an email, again, the bill number is A4750. Any support to all the districts in our state is obviously a benefit, and for us, as you can see, we are yet again for the second year increasing for that tax, for the healthcare waiver. So it would be a benefit to us as well. I also just want to say I listened to all the campaigns for our current governor, and I know that she did run on a campaign for improving health insurance rates and costs in the state. So it would be interesting to see if this bill gets some traction. And last, I also have a concern that we need to have a more consistent calendar. And, I listen to you, and I do agree. And hopefully as we move through, we don't have a year like we've had currently. I feel like it was definitely out of character, and, it's something that I think everybody is going to look at in the years to come. Everybody have a good night. So I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
By acclamation?
Aye.